Welcome once again to the Leader Lounge, where we meet with community leaders in Jasper and Walker County. And today we welcome the Executive Director of Northwest Alabama Mental Health Center, April Knight. April, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, doing well. Glad you're on the show today.
I'm excited about it.
Good. So tell us what all is going on at Northwest. Let's just dive right in.
All right.
What's going on with y'all? I know y'all have got a lot going on.
We do. So today I'm writing a grant.
Okay,
Actually,
yeah.
there's a grant due. So we've been working on something called CCBHC,
Okay.
which is Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. And it's basically increasing and improving people's access to mental health care.
Okay.
Making it lots easier and quicker to get in and be seen if you have a mental health need, whether it's like stress or depression or you just need somebody to talk to about what's going on at work. We can do that.
Yeah.
So we're excited about it. I think it's going to be a great project for us.
Good. Anything else coming down the pike over the next few months, maybe that we need to be thinking about?
The CCBHC is such a big deal for us, and there's so many moving parts. We're trying to kind of get ourselves positioned and doing all the things like we have the vision. Now we're writing like policy and procedures and doing the little nitpicky detail stuff that kind of make it possible to actually implement.
Okay.
So we're going to be kind of consumed with that for the next few months.
And tell us a little bit about what Northwest does, and then the area. It's a lot bigger organization than most people think. And then what's your coverage area that you cover?
Sure. So it is actually we have 5 counties that we serve, 5 primary counties, and that's like Fayette, Lamar, Marion, Walker, and Winston counties. But for substance abuse prevention services and for intellectual disabilities, we also serve Franklin, Colbert, and Lauderdale counties. So, we're stretched to 8 counties, and we provide, mental illness services. Basically, behavioral health is probably the term that people maybe are more familiar with. And that might be, maybe someone has, maybe they need substance abuse treatment. Maybe they have, as I mentioned earlier, depression or have a mental illness. Maybe they have a dual diagnosis, a little bit of both going on. So we serve basically children, adolescents, adults in our 5 county and then 8 county catchment with those services. And then we also have, and what's was near and dear and still is to my heart, was the prevention services that are in the community. And we are in schools, and we're at community events. You'll see us set up with a table at Foothills Festival or wherever that you go. Wherever anything that's happening in Walker County, you're going to see us have some presence there. And we talk about with kids in school, we talk about things like making good decisions and coping skills, and give them some information about things like vaping and why that's not a good idea, and help them deal with things that they might be dealing with, like peer pressure to use different substances.
Okay. Now you mentioned prevention, and you worked for a long time in prevention before you became the executive director. What was it about that made you want to invest in that particular field?
So I had a psychology degree, and my mother saw an ad in the paper and said, you know what, the mental health center has a job opening. So I went for the interview, and they said, do you want to work in prevention or treatment? And I said, well, what is that? Because I truly had never heard of prevention. And they said, well, that is working with people before they are addicted to alcohol or drugs. And I said, well, that sounds like that would be something that I would really be interested in. They explained I'd be working with children in the schools, and that was right up my alley. And so I jumped right in. And when I started the job, my boss and I inherited a box with puppets and a Just Say No VHS tape that had Nancy Reagan and the Keebler elf on it, and some unfinished paperwork, and that was it. But that was actually very freeing because we got to create our prevention program ourselves, and so it was a lot of fun.
Was that program with Reagan? Was that kind of what put prevention and really the fight against drugs to a national forefront?
Yes, it was. That's the first prevention message that I was ever exposed to, was the Just Say No. And after that, it seemed like it picked up momentum, and they started developing other things like curriculum that were, we could use in the schools or in church or in community. And then they also developed things that like evidence-based practices that had some research behind them that would work with lots of different populations and ages. And so kind of helped us fine-tune and hone into what actually worked so that we were more effective and made us a better steward of the resources that we were given.
You know, faith has been, it has been and is a big part of your life. And what are some milestones in your own faith journey, and how does faith kind of shape, you know, what you do in your everyday life?
So, you know, I grew up in the Methodist church, and I can remember, you know, when you're 12, you go through confirmation class, you know, and you learn, you know, about different books in the Bible, and you know, get the formal education as to what it is to be a Christian. And that was momentous, and you know, you go up in front of the whole church and you make your vows. But then I went to Camp Sumatonga when I was a 16-year-old, and that is when, for me, it really got real. I had not thought about spending time alone with Jesus. That had just, you know, I prayed, but as far as like actually meditating on the Word and like just spending time with Jesus, that's something I had not done. And they encouraged us to go off, you know, by ourselves somewhere. And if you've been to Sumatonga, have you not?
You know, I've never been. I've heard about Sumatonga my entire life.
Seriously?
You know, I grew up Methodist, and I've heard about it. I have never been.
You've got to go.
I know.
You've got to go.
I know. I feel so bad saying that, but I just, I have never been.
Well, you need to go and just, you know, do a little day trip or something.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely beautiful. And so we would, the group that I was with, we would go off separately, and we would just like meditate on the Word and just talk to Jesus. And that was when, you know, it seems like my prayer life took off. Having a true deep relationship with Christ started.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you know, since then, you know, that's been a very important part of my life. And then I got interested in, when the Left Behind books came out.
Yeah.
I got really interested in studying about Bible prophecy, and that's something I still love studying the Bible, because it doesn't matter how many times I've read Isaiah or Daniel, there's still going to be something that's going to jump out at me that I didn't pick up on the other 50 times I've read it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's so rich, and you know, and I've really tried to. I've been reading more of the Bible this past year than I have in any other year in my life, and what amazes me is just how you see Jesus in the shadow of everything.
Yes.
You know, and if you know, you can take kind of a cursory glance and read Scripture, and you may not understand. You may not get that richness. You may read it and go, wow, why did God do that, or whatever. But as you continue to dive deeper and study, that's when I believe that the real richness of Scripture, you know, comes to life. And also, it's just incredible the parallels that occur throughout Scripture. I mean, it's there's no way that you know, man wrote this by himself.
Right.
You know, that there's no way that over generations and large geographical areas that this stuff just, you know, came together by osmosis. It was God breathed. You know, and that's what's amazing to me, is only God, you know, could do that. And so anyway, back to your point, it's been amazing to me as I've continued to dive into Scripture, how I've learned, you know, how rich it is. So anyway, I just went off on a tangent
I'm
right
glad
there.
You
So
did. There's different levels to it, and there's a diagram I can picture, but the words are in Hebrew and I can't remember. But basically, there's different levels, and it's like you the surface level, and then you get into the symbolism, and then you can get into the numbers. You know, what do the numbers mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, then actually, if you look at Hebrew, you know, there was a earlier version of Hebrew, and you actually look at their pictures. It's basically pictures, and you can actually go so far as to look at, you know, the very first verse in Scripture, and you know, you look at the picture words that basically, again, reference Jesus. So it is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and there's such intentionality. I don't mean to keep going on about this, but there's just such intentionality with everything that is written. It's amazing to me. So, you know, most people in this community, a lot of people in this community know you through work, but, you know, just over these next few minutes, I want to talk a little bit about you personally.
All right.
What do you like to do in your downtime outside of Northwest Alabama Mental Health and all the other things that you've got going on in the community? What does April like to do in her downtime?
I play Merge Mansion if I have any downtime.
Merge Mansion?
Merge Mansion.
Okay.
But I don't have much downtime. I love to do DIY projects.
Okay.
David and I are always
Yeah.
doing something. Right now we're putting down flooring,
Yeah.
in the basement and
Yeah.
doing some things there. And I'm about to start finishing a piece of furniture.
Okay.
So I like to do things
Oh,
like
let's
that.
go back to what was that other thing you said? Merge.
Merge Mansion. That's
Okay, what
my
is
guilty
that?
pleasure. It's just a little game that you play on your phone.
Okay.
And if I have like 10 minutes, I'll sit there and I'll play Merge Mansion
Okay.
and drink a Diet Coke.
How do you spell that?
It's Merge, MERGE.
Okay.
And then Mansion, like a home.
Yeah. Well, you know that I wasn't going to let that go. So
No, I know.
So
No.
I had to come back to that. Okay. All right. So we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
All right.
We've got 9 questions to kind of get to know you a little bit better. So I made these kind of fun. And this is kind of our go-to. Number 1 is your favorite music decade: 70s, 80s, 90s, 60s,
80s.
80s. Okay, good.
I have to do 80s.
Yeah, yeah. The more I do a deep dive into 80s music, the more it's to me it's not even close. I mean,
Right.
like it's just the I can go on and on about that. All right, let's go to number 2.
Okay.
Movie you always watch when it's on TV.
Oh my goodness. For years it was Titanic. I could hear the song and I would have a need to watch the movie. But I have switched and I will watch any Harry Potter. I can't help
Okay.
myself.
Interesting. Yeah.
My daughter, that has family connections. We
Yeah.
figure the movies and we watch it. So if I hear Harry Potter,
Yeah.
I'll watch the show.
I love The Fugitive. Like when The Fugitive is on, I watch it. I mean, it's one of definitely in my top 10. So, number 3, would you ride in a hot air balloon?
No,
Yeah.
I would not.
Hard no on that.
No, I admire people that do. I think that's great. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Scuba dive. Yes, in a heartbeat. I would leave here today and go and scuba dive. But
Yeah.
being up high, no.
Yeah. I feel like I've gotten progressively, danger averse as I've gotten older. When I was, I
Probably
went scuba diving when I was like 13 years old. It was 14 years old when I went to Hawaii, and I did it. Didn't even think about it. I wouldn't do that now.
Really?
I also wouldn't get up in a hot air balloon.
Right.
So, all right, number 4. How long do you keep your Christmas tree up?
So my Christmas tree makes it through January 31st with lights on.
Okay.
Because January is such a dreary kind of
Yeah.
depressing month, and
Yeah.
the lights are so pretty, and so
Sure.
we do that now. My husband would probably like for it to come down on January 6th, but it doesn't happen.
Do you think that there's any husband and wife couple that kind of is on the same page with respect to that? It seems like one wants to take it down, the other one wants to.
No.
I kind of err on the side of keeping it up a little bit longer. Okay, question 5. Do you
right.
prefer 100 degrees outside or 30 degrees outside?
100 degrees
Yeah,
any day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can find shade. We can drink a cold drink. 30 degrees, that just makes everybody unhappy.
But if it's 30, you can just layer up.
Yeah,
and
that's true. That's true.
For some reason, this last, cold snap has gotten on my nerves though. Like I'm okay with it to a certain point, and then I'm like ready for spring to come
Yes,
in. So
absolutely.
that's where I am. Okay, if you could time travel to a different era, where would you go? Question number 6.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I would go to the Plantagenet era, War of the Roses,
Okay,
before 1483.
Okay.
That's just fascinating. I love they have all of the little mini-series things that you can watch, like, what is it, The White Queen, The White Princess. Watched all of those, have always loved English history, and that just seems like a fascinating time.
Yeah, kind of the medieval period. Yeah, okay. All right, next question, number 7. Besides your electronic devices, what would be an item you just had to have on a deserted island?
Am I provided with food and water?
Yes.
Okay, if I've got food, water, and shelter, I want chapstick.
Okay, good. I like that. All right. And then number 8, would you rather travel by car or plane?
Car.
Yeah.
I like to be able to look out the window and see things at much closer distance, and just kind of enjoy the ride instead of I'm rushing from here to there and then dealing with airports.
Yeah. I would drive to Siberia. Like I have no interest in getting on a plane. I'm a big guy. Like it's hot and it's always
It
hot
is.
in there. I can't move. I'm at the mercy of everything else.
You have to take your shoes off in public.
Yeah, I don't like
not
I don't
good.
like having to go to the bathroom in a plane.
Right.
I can't stop at a gas station. I just don't. There's nothing about it that's appealing to
I
me.
agree.
Okay, number 9, sweet treat you like to indulge in. This could be a Dunkin' Donuts,
Okay.
coffee, a Milo's milkshake. Just what's your sweet treat?
So the peach milkshakes at Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
But they will only let us have now a small. They
Yeah.
are worried about our health and we can only purchase a small. So
Right.
that was shocking.
Have they gone socialist on us? Or
I'm not sure, but I asked last summer,
Yeah.
can we, they're like, no, you can buy 2 smalls.
Yeah.
Like, no, we'll stick with 1. So
I love it. Well, April, thank you so much for coming on the show. You did an awesome job, and we really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. We wish you all the best of luck in Northwest. We know y'all are doing some great work.
thank you. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
For April Knight, this is Al Blanton. Make sure you hit that like button on the Walker Leader on Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you next time on the Leader Lounge.